Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SafeBreach and Microsoft webinar on SafeBreach attack scenarios in the Microsoft Defender ATP Eval Lab. Today with us, we have two presenters. We have Hadar Feldman from Microsoft. She's our program manager for the Microsoft Defender ATP environment. And we have Valerie Licken, the director of product management here at SafeBreach. Welcome, both of you. We're super excited to have SafeBreach in the Microsoft Eval Lab. So when users are now testing out Defender ATP, they're able to use SafeBreach simulations for breach and attack simulations. So with that, let's get started. We have a short amount of time here. So I want to make sure everybody knows that the webinar is being recorded. It's available for on demand afterwards. Everybody's line are on mute. But feel free to ask questions at any time, and throughout the session, we'll try to take in questions, and we'll save some time at the end to answer any additional questions. So with that, let me turn it over to Valerie to get us started.
Hello, everyone. I wanted to speak, first of all, about the breach and attack simulation and about the error. I hope a few of you already heard about it. And just a few notes about how SafeBreach envisioned this space. Basically, what is breach and attack simulation is about testing your security controls. Be sure that your security controls are behaving as you expect them to. So it starts from simulating attacks, real attacks, different tactics and techniques, and something that a real hacker would do in your environment if they would like to breach into your network. Secondly, we would like to visualize and prioritize the findings based on those simulations, which means demonstrate you the full attack kill chain and make sure that you understand what are the main issues and risks in your environment. And eventually, every breach and attack simulation platform should have the capability of remediating the findings, either through automations and integrations, or simply by providing you the guidelines of doing such by yourself. So those are like three main pillars for breach and attack simulation platform. Now, some interesting facts from the enterprise security. We know that CISOs, the guys, you're buying a lot of security controls, investing a lot of money, and eventually, you hear in the news some company has been breached. So how can it happen? And actually, it happens in 97% of the time. It could be stopped by existing controls. So basically, you have all the controls in place, and probably they are not configured in the right way, or maybe you just forgot to turn on the magic button when you bought the specific control. The other interesting fact is that 99% of the attacks are known, which means the breach that you heard yesterday or you heard probably will hear tomorrow is usually using the same techniques and same methods that the hackers used a year ago in the similar breach on the other company. So what does it mean? It means that your security controls with the history of the existing breaches are capable to block and prevent these attacks. And lastly, just a specific example of one of the main security controls probably in your environment, firewall, it also has 95% of breaches due to misconfigurations. And we know such configurations might be really advanced and complex to maintain. So nothing from your environment doesn't prevent you from actually be able to block this next attack. But since of the complexity of the configuration, you're not sure at any time whether you're protected or not. And this is why breach and attack simulation platforms come and play, and we're happy to help you to answer these questions. Are you protected against next breach or actually the historical breach, and are your environment capable of handling that? So now I'd like to jump into a quick demonstration of what is SafeBreach platform about, going through the main capabilities and the features. So I hope you see right now the screen. So that's the homepage of SafeBreach. It concludes basically the all simulation results that we executed and executing them continuously on a weekly, daily, or monthly basis, depending on your use case. And what we're capable of providing you is a posture in terms of what are the most critical segments and what are the most critical areas of your organization that are exposed to different types of attacks. So when I talk about attacks, we have a really great playbook of more than 17,000 different breach methods. It includes all the kill chain steps, starting from infiltration, breaching into your perimeter, and then lateral movement within your network, then infecting and performing malicious actions on the host level, and eventually getting to your sensitive data and exfiltrating this information that is sensitive to your organization outside of your platform, outside of your environment. Another aspect that you can use to browse the playbook is security controls categories. As you can see here, we cover different aspects of your security range, starting from your network controls, endpoint controls, container and cloud environments. So you can easily filter by an area that you would like to test and see what are different types of attacks that we have. In addition to that, you can, if you come in and you have in mind some specific attack type that you would like to test, like ransomware execution, for example, you can filter quickly for that and see what types of ransomware we are capable of executing. All of those simulations, of course, run in a safe way, and you can run them in the production network. Or alternatively, you can focus on MITRE and choose some MITRE techniques, or as Adar will talk about this use case as well, like APT29 threat group, for example. You can choose that, select all the relevant attacks, and simply run them in your environment. So that's as simple as that. And lastly, if you have heard, for example, from one of your peers or from a threat intel, you heard about some campaign or some malware that you would like to search for, you can actually enter it in the search bar quickly. And then, for example, let's take the Maze one and see all the different attacks that we are capable of simulating covering the Maze ransomware, which was recently active in the wild. After simulating the attacks, we present a test summary for each test that you executed. So just to continue the example of APT29, I can drill into this test summary, and it summarized in terms of all the 1,000 simulations that we simulated in your environment, what are the simulations that were blocked or not blocked. And in this case, you have only 2% of simulations not blocked, which is pretty nice in your environment. You are protected well. As well, we have a view of security controls, the actual security controls integrated in your environment, and what are the actions they perform. And this is allowed by our integrations with the different platforms, direct integrations and integration through SIEM vendors that are capable to getting this information here. Eventually, as I mentioned, one of the key aspects of breach and attack simulation platforms is to allow you effective and efficient remediation of the findings. And the way we provide it is through our insights screen. This screen summarizes and prioritizes all the findings that are based on the 1,000 of different simulations in different categories. So you can focus on a specific area, like endpoint or web gaps, security gaps that we discovered. And then within each area, you have different gaps, or as we call them, insights, represented here. So you can drill into it. You see exact risk impact on your environment and how you will improve your posture if you resolve and remediate this issue. And lastly, you can easily export the information from here in order to block or blacklist information in your security controls. In this example, you can either create a query for Splunk and creating some alerts that will search and see if this file was found, these malware files were found in your environment. Or, for example, to Microsoft Defender ATP, there is a pre-formatted file that you can upload to blacklist those indicators. So just to point out, those are only the simulations or the indicators that are based on the simulations that were not blocked. So basically, we validated all your security controls, and we found something that was not blocked, and we provide to you this information to be able to fix that. So that summarizes my demo. I would like to transfer the presentation to Hadar.
Yes, hi everyone. I hope you can hear me well. I'm having some technical issues. So I'm here to talk on this cool integration that MDATP did with SafeBreach. And I will start by saying a few words on what MDATP is. For those of you that don't know the solution or didn't get to hear on what exactly it is. So just looking on Microsoft Defender Advanced Threat Protection, our device protection solution, you can see here the different components that the solution is really includes. And what we're trying to say here is basically, we know that the world is not what it was 10 years ago. Actually handling with an attacking environment is not only seeing some alerts or having some signatures for specific detections or protections in your environment. The attacks are getting more complex, and so are the security solutions. And this is kind of the vision on how we think the security solution should look, and how we built MDATP to actually handle all the different types of attacks that we see in the wild. So by that, you can see that we don't just start from doing detection, but we also look on how can we help our customers build a more secure environment by having threat and vulnerability management, meaning having the right safety posture in place even before talking about what attack can take place or what alerts can be triggered. So security, threat and vulnerability management need to help our customers be more protected, but under this assumption that attackers are getting smarter and smarter, we need to help our customers adopt more attack surface reduction capabilities and, of course, prevention and detection capabilities that you can see in the next generation protection and in the endpoint detection capabilities that we have, meaning having both the known and good AV in place, yet also have behavioral detection capabilities that can protect from more advanced attacks. And more than that, even once there are attacks, and those of you that see as protectors of your environment know that all these alerts being generated, some of them are more confident while others are not. It takes so much time for the Security Operations Center to manage to keep the environment safe and actually handle all these detections. For that, Microsoft Defender Advanced Threat Protection came up with an automated investigation and remediation capability, trying to do the work for the Security Operations Center in many of the cases where it can be done, suspending processes, deleting files that were involved in an attack, and doing that automatically for the SOC, so more work can be pointed into what really matters and what really must have SOC analysts looking on and investigating. And last but not least, even having the best security people in place to look on all these capabilities and to actually have the right security management and vulnerability management in place and so on, still sometimes you need the help of an expert. And that's where Microsoft is bringing our experts to be very accessible to Microsoft Defender Advanced Threat Protection customers for any questions or problems that need to be asked. These experts are there, they can help, and they sometimes even proactively find attacks in our customers' environment and pointing the attention of the SOC to it. So looking on all these slides and talking about the vision of security solutions, you may say, this makes sense, but it also makes the solutions so much more complex. How do I know if a solution gives me everything I need? How do I know if a solution fits to my environment and my requirements? There are so many solutions out there, and each one of them includes so many components that it's really hard to evaluate and even harder to get to know and learn about and see how they actually function in real life and in real attacks. So talking about Microsoft Defender ATP, as I said, there are so many capabilities to discuss, but I'm going to zoom in into this problem of how to evaluate and how to decide which product or which solution will be the right for me. This is kind of just a familiar dashboard of Microsoft Defender ATP for those of you that got to see it before. So I'm going to jump right into our evaluation lab. What is the Microsoft Defender ATP evaluation lab? So seeing this problem of customers to find the right solution and get to know it, we in MDATP decided to give our customers the way to have a streamlined product evaluation experience that actually gets them to see the product in action, how it handles an attack, and helping them to get to know it. So by that, with creating the Microsoft evaluation lab, we actually guide customers and make sure they get the right results and they have an easy way to do it without putting all the resources that it takes in order to evaluate the product today. So kind of trying to build this evaluation lab that we are giving customers, we try to look on 3 different areas where we were listening to customers struggling and saying, we need to evaluate the product, we need to make sure if it's right for us, but we have too many troubles on the way. And the areas that we looked at were setup, simulation, and reports. And why is that? So just setuping a lab to evaluate and learn about the product is so complex, having all these settings that need to be in place, need to create a device, make sure that it's well configured. And some environments and some organizations just don't have the resources to do it or to do it right in a way that actually represents the reality. And other than that, there's of course the simulation issue. If I want to evaluate the product or I want to see it in action, I need a real attack in place. And last but not least, how do I learn about the product and see how the product actually served me by pointing me in the right direction to this attack and allowing me to investigate it or prevent it in advance. So looking on these 3 areas, the evaluation lab provides Microsoft Defender ATP customers with a lab that provisions devices for the customers, that the customer doesn't have to do anything. Just with a click of a button, you get your own device that is already well configured and onboarded to Microsoft Defender Advanced Threat Protection. You have direct access to this device. You can do everything you want with it, just to evaluate the product. So this is how we kind of tackle this area of setup. I don't want to create my own lab. I don't have the resources. You get it in the click of a button. The third area, the reports area, also will be covered in the lab by pointing the customers to the right places where they can see all the alerts triggered, all the investigations in place, and everything that you need to know about MDATP in order to get to know it. Simulation was always the challenge. How can you simulate a good attack that will actually represent real-life attack and show you that the product is doing what you're expecting it to do? And that's where, even though we provide our customers direct access to these devices provisioned by Microsoft Defender ATP, we also partnered with SafeBreach, where SafeBreach Simulator can actually provide us and provide customers the capability to see real attack in place and see the product reacts to it. This powerful integration with SafeBreach allows our customers to get the access to actual real-life simulations that simulate real attacks, see how it looks like when an attack is taking place in the environment, and see how the product actually reacts to this attack, allowing customers to learn on MDATP on how it will look like having to face an actual attack in the environment. So wrapping this all up, Lab helps you with having the right setup for evaluating MDATP and helps you to get to the right places, while SafeBreach helps you to evaluate the product and see what it looks like in real life. So what does it actually mean? Just by getting a Microsoft Defender ATP trial tenant, you can get to the evaluation lab and get to see those 2 screens that actually allow you to choose what lab setup you want for your MDATP lab, for how long, and what kind of simulations you would like to have in place, where you can turn on the SafeBreach integration and have simulations available for you just by having this click. So after having your trial tenant and set up in your lab, you will be able to see that the setup is completed and actually start evaluating the product. Here, within the evaluation lab of NDATP, you'll be able to see how many active machines you have and how many simulations were executed, which alerts it triggered, incidents, and taking you actually to a tour in NDATP based on this attack. As you can see here, with the click of a button after creating a device, you can simply create the SafeBreach simulation and choose the simulation that you prefer, choose the device you want to execute it on, and you're ready to go. Simulation will be running in your environment. We give all sorts of interesting SafeBreach simulations that we build together with the SafeBreach team as part of this integration. One of them, the one that Valerie was pointed earlier, APT29 is the example that you can see here. For each simulation that you can trigger within the NDATP evaluation lab, you get all the details that you need to know. What is the simulation? What does it represent? What are the micro techniques that are being covered in the simulation? And some additional cool tricks on how to see the results of this simulation in Microsoft Defender ATP, in this case, in advanced hunting. So this is the lab window, the way you get it and see it. And just by clicking those few buttons, you have a device and you have a simulation of a real attack happening in your environment. Now, the important thing to point out, other than the fact that the simulation is here, is the fact that you get some easy starting points with the product by seeing the simulation taking place in different cases. The advanced hunting is a great example, since many NDATP users are struggling with advanced hunting and getting to know it and using it right. So even just have your first query as a first step may help you feel more comfortable with the product. And this is why we decided to put so much effort and investment on this interesting integration. So here you can see a catalog of the different simulations that we provide, and hopefully there are more to come, so you want to keep tracking these. Of course, that other than providing the different simulations, we also provide some get-to-know-us scenarios that are Microsoft internal scenarios that will allow you to get to know the different features. Now, other than getting to know the lab, I would like to spend a few more minutes on showing you what it actually looks like when you simulate a SafeBreach attack in Microsoft Defender ATP in your lab, and how can you go through the different features and see how the product is functioning. And by that, give you a short tour of NDATP as well. So it's important to understand that your lab devices that you can create and then run SafeBreach simulation on are actually just like any other device that you will onboard to Microsoft Defender ATP. It means that every single feature across the solution will show you everything that happens just like it's in real life. And actually it is like in real life, since this device is a real VM that is behaving just like any other device in your environment. Here in this example, you can see that we ran a simulation, a SafeBreach simulation on this device, and you can see examples of the alerts that got triggered. This will be the NDATP device page showing you the alerts, and you can just click through the different alerts and see exactly the results. You can see all the data that NDATP is sending on the device timeline and how the attack will exactly look like with each and every process involved and every property that is important to the investigation, as well as getting to know the Microsoft Defender ATP alert page that gives you the understanding of exactly what happened in the attack, what techniques we noticed, of course, associated with the micro techniques right here, and what was the part of each and every process or file or operation in this attack, how it would exactly look like if you had this attack going on in your environment. This is important, as this may help you to actually be ready for a time when a real attack will happen in your environment, getting to know all the different capabilities and use them faster when it's really important. You can see here some dive into the details of everything that happened. For example, here we had a SafeBreach attack that was using service registration, and so you can see exactly the registry value that was changed, all the telemetry that the solution can provide you to conduct an investigation. This is one of my favorite, and my favorite examples is the WMI bind event filter to consumer. Is a very complex attack that sometimes is really hard to investigate, and the simulators can actually help you. Now, not last, but a very important thing to to remind here is our automated response capabilities that I pointed out when I got an intro to the solution, where I promised you that many alerts that can be automatically investigated are being investigated by MDATP and automatically remediated, saving some time to the SOC. So even by running these SafeBreach simulations in the lab, you'll get some understanding of how this capability works. You can see this specific alert was remediated by the solution, and just by clicking through the remediated link, you get to see the investigation that the solution actually did for you, everything that was analyzed and the actions that were taken in order to save you some time with triaging and investigating these alerts. Here is an example of the use case that we've seen before, where one of the tricks that we provide you in order to run the simulation and get to know MDATP better is some advanced hunting queries that you can actually run and see the results in live, just like you would look like when you would conduct your own investigation, getting you ready for actual cases taking place in your environment and making it easier for you to actually see what MDATP is and what is its capabilities.
Thank you, Adar. So just to summarize that, as you've seen in the presentation of Adar, SafeBreach provides few sample scenarios as part of the MDATP evaluation lab. And of course, you can get much more from the SafeBreach platform you have installed and using the SafeBreach platform. But MDATP evaluation lab allows you actually to get the power of the real simulations without having the whole setup as Adar mentioned. And what is the value that you're getting in? Just to summarize, the main 3 points here is, first of all, you're simulating the real attack scenarios and you're validating your MDATP capabilities and actually can learn of how your MDATP setup would behave in a real scenario. Secondly, you have the opportunity to optimize the configuration, creating new detection rules, some alerting capabilities and enhancement, or as I've demonstrated, even blacklisting some hashes that you would like to add to your blacklist there in the prevention mode, and eventually get better value from both products and demonstrate the capability and be secured from the breaches of yesterday and also from the breaches of tomorrow.
And thank both of you for your session today. Very insightful. We wanted to let you know the best way to be able to set up for the Microsoft Evaluation Lab. We put this link down here to get you access into the documentation. It gives a great step-by-step process of how you can set up and test out all our various simulations. There's even a video that helps walk you through it. So that's a great way to see it. Thank you both for your presentation. It's very insightful how users can actually, do a full evaluation of Microsoft Defender and really see how it handles under pressure of real attack scenarios. So with that, let's move. We have another minute or two, so let's take in a few questions that we have from the audience. One of the questions that came in is that they noticed, Valerie, during your demo, someone had noticed the bottom banner was saying that APT3 TTPs was running. Is this an attack that's part of the evaluation test?
So I mean, the evaluation test probably was asked for the ATP evaluation lab. So actually, this is one of the additional scenarios that Adar was mentioning that we're going to expand and add additional scenarios to the MDATP lab. And we decided to choose some interesting scenarios. APT3 is one of them that we're probably going to add there. And also, if you would like to see and test your environment for additional APTs, so that's totally possible just by having the SafeBreach platform, and then you have all the APTs available there.
Excellent, thank you. And then we had a question. Valerie, will stay with you on, it says, which capabilities does the Microsoft Defender and SafeBreach integration provide on the SafeBreach platform?
Okay, thanks. So that's also presented in a single screen for the test summary. When you actually simulate attacks, another capability that SafeBreach has is integrating with your security controls. And the reason we're doing that is enabling the automatic analysis of what is happening in your environment and automated correlation of all the security events to the specific simulation. So that can help you to actually investigate those missed breaches that your environment was not blocking. You can actually open a specific simulation and see all the security events from the connected and integrated security devices, including MDATP. So you just received your 5 or 10 events that MDATP had generated during this simulation, and then you can actually understand whether maybe your setup allowing this simulation and just set for monitoring mode, and maybe you need to adjust some detection rule to be able to detect it better.
Excellent. Hadar, we've had a question on the Microsoft environment. The question is, can I use the lab on an ongoing basis regardless to an evaluation?
So this is a great question. The lab was done in order to help users in their first experience using the simulators in order to see real attacks and evaluate or learn about the product. And currently is not designed to be used on an ongoing basis. Yet we are allowing our customers to use and ask for more devices when needed. And we are considering some additional uses of this really awesome capability.
Yeah, as Valerie was mentioning, to my APT3, maybe some others. And it's good to know that when you're using Microsoft Defender and you chose to go with Defender as your endpoint solution, having SafeBreach in your environment as well, you could be running simulations all the time, not just in an eval, and more extensive than just what's available in the labs. Okay, very good. We are running over on time. I wanted to thank everyone so much for your time and attention today. We'll be sending out notifications. If you had any troubles on seeing or hearing, we'll send you the links to be able to replay. Thank you everyone for your day, and we look forward to meeting you on our next presentations. Thank you, Valerie. Thank you, Hadar.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.